Ladies and gentlemen, there's something powerful, something blessed about a woman who says, God, I can't, but I know you can. The world will tell you to hustle harder, to grip tighter, to make it happen by any means necessary. But a woman who's learned to let go and put it all in God's hands, oh, she's dangerous to the enemy. She's a warrior cloaked in peace. It takes real strength to surrender, real courage to say, I don't need to control this because I trust the one who controls it all. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. And the woman who gets that, she ain't moved by storms, she ain't rattled by the winds. She walks steady because her foundation is not built on the sand, it's built on the rock. Sometimes life gets messy, it gets dark, it gets lonely. But when a woman puts her whole heart, her whole future, her whole life in God's hands, she taps into a peace that don't even make sense to the world, a peace that whispers, even this is working for your good. Blessed is the woman who trusts in God's timing, even when it feels late. Blessed is the woman who holds onto her faith when the doors are slamming, when the phone's not ringing, when the miracle hasn't shown up yet, because she knows deep down that God's never late. He's just setting the stage. You see, a woman like that shines different. She walks different. She speaks life even when life feels heavy. And people around her, they feel that light. They see that hope. They want to know, what is it about her? And she smiles and she points up. She says, it ain't me, it's him. Blessed is the woman who lets go of her need to have it all figured out. Blessed is the woman who stops fighting battles that were never hers to fight. Blessed is the woman who kneels in prayer, stands in faith, and walks in victory, even before she sees the victory with her own eyes. And if you're that woman, or you're becoming her, don't you dare quit. Don't you dare look back. You're not just blessed because of the outcome. You're blessed because of the journey. You're blessed because you chose faith over fear. You chose trust over worry. You chose God over everything. And because of that, you're already winning. Faith over fear is a choice that defines the direction of a life. It's standing at the edge of uncertainty and deciding to believe, even when everything inside you is screaming to turn back. Faith doesn't mean you won't feel fear. It doesn't mean you won't have doubts creeping into your mind late at night. It means that when fear tries to paralyze you, faith steps in and says, move anyway. Faith is action. It's waking up in the morning, looking at the battles ahead, and still choosing to trust that God is bigger than every obstacle, every setback, every unanswered question. Fear will paint you pictures of everything that could go wrong. Fear will try to make you small, make you settle, make you run. But faith says, God's got this, keep walking. Choosing faith over fear is not a one-time decision. It's a daily battle. It's a mindset. It's a conversation you have with yourself every single day. Fear speaks loudly, faith whispers steadily. And it's that whisper that you have to hold on to. When fear says you're not enough, faith reminds you that God is more than enough. When fear tells you to quit, faith tells you that the story isn't over yet. Faith isn't the absence of fear, it's the courage to keep believing when fear is present. It's trusting that even if the ground shakes under your feet, you are still standing on promises that can't be moved. Faith declares that God's plan is still unfolding, even when you can't see the full picture. Faith over fear is how miracles happen. It's how destinies are fulfilled. It's how a woman becomes unstoppable, not because she is fearless, but because she trusts in a God who never fails. Strength through surrender sounds backwards to the world, but it is one of the deepest truths you will ever live. Real strength is not found in clenching your fists and fighting every battle alone. It's not found in carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, pretending you're unbreakable. True strength is found in the moment you open your hands, lift them to heaven, and say, God, I can't do this without you. Surrender isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's recognizing that you were never meant to handle everything by yourself. It's knowing that there is a power greater than yours, a love deeper than anything you could ever create on your own. When you surrender, you are not giving up. You are handing over control to the one who knows the end from the beginning. You are letting God fight the battles you were never designed to win alone. Surrender is a bold move of trust. It says, I don't have all the answers, and I don't need to, because I know who does. It's in that release that a different kind of strength rises up inside you. A strength that isn't based on your own ability, but on God's unshakable promises. A strength that stands firm even when life feels like a storm, because you are anchored to something eternal. There's a freedom that comes with surrender, a lightness that replaces the heavy burden of trying to control everything. You start to move differently. You breathe deeper. You speak more boldly, not because everything is perfect, but because you know you're being carried by grace. In surrender, you stop striving and start thriving. You stop surviving and start living in the fullness of what God always intended for you. That is real strength, born not from holding on tighter, but from letting go and trusting completely. Divine timing is the understanding that everything in life unfolds according to a plan much greater than your own. It's realizing that just because you are ready doesn't mean the moment is. It's trusting that while you are waiting, God is working. Divine timing teaches patience in a world that glorifies instant results. It demands that you believe there is a perfect season for every dream, every breakthrough, every answered prayer. It reminds you that delays are not denials, and that preparation often happens in the unseen before manifestation arrives. When you live by divine timing, you let go of the pressure to rush. You stop forcing doors open that aren't meant for you yet. You stop comparing your journey to someone else's highlight reel. You trust that if something hasn't happened yet, there's a reason. Either the situation isn't ready, or you're still being shaped for it. Divine timing isn't about sitting idle. It's about being faithful in the waiting. July 11. It's about doing your part, preparing, growing, staying ready, and then releasing the outcome into God's hands. Sometimes divine timing feels like frustration because you can see the promise but can't yet touch it. It feels like you're being passed over, forgotten, left behind. But the truth is, God's delays are strategic. They are protecting you from stepping into something you are not fully prepared to carry. They are setting up circumstances you cannot even see yet, aligning people, opportunities, and events in a way that will blow your mind when it finally comes together. Living with trust in divine timing builds a deeper faith. It stretches you beyond what is comfortable and teaches you to believe without seeing. It turns waiting rooms into training grounds and transforms impatience into endurance. Divine timing proves that when God moves, it will be bigger, better, and more beautiful than anything you could have forced into existence on your own. Peace beyond understanding is a gift that doesn't make sense to the natural mind. It's the kind of peace that shows up when everything around you is falling apart, when the reports are bad, when the doors are closing, and yet somehow, your spirit remains calm. It's not the peace that comes from having a perfect life or smooth circumstances. It's the peace that comes straight from God, planted deep inside your soul where fear and chaos can't reach. This peace is not earned by effort or found through achievement. It is given freely to those who choose to trust beyond what they can see. When you walk in peace beyond understanding, you are no longer controlled by the ups and downs of life. You don't lose your mind every time a plan falls through or a prayer seems unanswered. You know deep down that there is a bigger plan at work, and because of that, you can rest You don't need all the answers. You don't need constant signs and reassurances. Your peace doesn't come from knowing the future. It comes from knowing who holds the future. This peace is powerful. It becomes a shield against anxiety, against fear, against despair. It guards your heart and your mind when the enemy tries to whisper lies of defeat. It anchors you when storms rage and when everything familiar seems to shake. It stands as a quiet but undeniable testimony that God is with you, even when the world says you should be breaking down. Peace beyond understanding doesn't just affect you, it touches everyone around you. People will see it and wonder how you are still standing, how you are still smiling, how you are still believing. And the truth is, it's not you, it's the God inside you, working a miracle of peace that no circumstance can steal. An unshakable identity is built on a foundation that no failure, no rejection, and no circumstance can destroy. It is the deep knowing of who you are because you are grounded in who God says you are. It is not based on titles, achievements, or the opinions of others. It is not swayed by how good the day is or how bad the season feels. When you carry an unshakable identity, you walk into every room already knowing your value, not looking for it. You are not desperate for validation because you have already been validated by the one who created you. Life will test you. People will try to define you. Experiences will attempt to label you. But when your identity is rooted in God's truth, none of those things can stick. You can lose a job, but you won't lose your worth. You can face betrayal, but you won't forget your belonging. You can endure seasons of silence and still know you are seen, chosen, and loved beyond measure. An unshakable identity means that you are not living for approval, you are living from a place of approval. This kind of strength allows you to take risks, to step out in faith, to love without fear of losing yourself. It gives you the courage to say no to what doesn't align with your calling and yes to what stretches your faith. It means you don't have to compromise your values just to fit in, because you already know you belong to something greater. Your identity is your anchor, keeping you steady when storms hit and winds blow. It gives you a voice when the world tries to silence you. It gives you peace when everything around you says, pain. With an unshakable identity, you move through life not as a question mark, but as a living declaration of God's perfect design. Purpose in pain is one of the deepest truths that transforms suffering into strength. Pain by itself can feel pointless, heavy, and cruel. But when you believe that even your wounds are being used for a greater good, pain loses its power to define you and starts to refine you. Purpose in pain means that nothing you go through is wasted. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every sleepless night is a seed being planted for something bigger than you can see right now. It may not make sense in the middle of the storm, but purpose is being built in the wreckage. When you recognize purpose in pain, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, what is this preparing me for? Pain becomes a teacher, sharpening your character, deepening your empathy, and strengthening your faith. It stretches you in ways comfort never could. It forces you to dig deeper into God, to reach for strength beyond your own, to develop perseverance that can't be shaken by temporary circumstances. Purpose in pain reminds you that your story is not over. It reminds you that resurrection power only comes after a cross. It shows you that scars are not signs of weakness, but of survival, of triumph, of growth. The very things that hurt you can later become the testimony that heals someone else. Your pain can become a bridge for others to find hope. It can become a weapon against the darkness you once thought would destroy you. You may not see the full picture yet, and that's okay. Trust that every tear sown in faith will reap a harvest. Trust that God is not just allowing the pain, but using it, molding it, and shaping it into something beautiful that could only be born through fire. Guided by grace means living with the constant awareness that you are being led by something greater than your own wisdom or strength. Grace is not something you earn, it is freely given, a divine force that carries you when you don't know the way and lifts you when you don't have the strength to stand. To be guided by grace is to move through life with a confidence that does not come from your abilities, but from knowing that God's hand is on your life, steering you, even when the path feels uncertain. When you are guided by grace, mistakes do not disqualify you. Failures do not define you. You are not walking a tightrope of perfection, terrified of falling. Instead, you are walking in the freedom of knowing that even when you stumble, grace catches you. It teaches you, it redirects you, and it keeps moving you forward. Grace allows you to release the pressure of having it all figured out. It reminds you that it's not about being flawless, it's about being faithful. Living guided by grace also changes the way you see others. It softens your heart and opens your eyes to the humanity in people. You forgive quicker, you judge slower, and you love deeper because you recognize that the same grace covering you is available to everyone else. You become a carrier of hope, extending the kindness and patience that was first extended to you. There will be days when the road ahead looks foggy, when decisions are heavy and answers are unclear. But when you are guided by grace, you don't have to fear missing your destiny. You trust that the one who began the good work in you will be faithful to complete it. Grace does not just accompany you, it actively leads you into the fullness of the life you were created to live. Hope in the waiting is one of the hardest but most powerful places to live. Waiting can feel like standing still in a world that keeps moving. It can feel like you're forgotten, overlooked, or stuck while everyone else is stepping into their promises. But hope in the waiting is a decision to believe that what God has spoken over your life is still true, even if you can't see it yet. It's holding on to the vision when your circumstances scream the opposite. It's choosing to trust that delay is not denial and that God's silence is not his absence. Waiting is not wasted time when it's filled with hope. It becomes a sacred space where character is built, faith is deepened, and roots grow strong beneath the surface. In the waiting, God often does his greatest work within you, preparing you for what you're praying for. Hope is the fuel that keeps you moving when there are no clear signs ahead. It keeps your heart soft instead of bitter, your hands open instead of clenched, your spirit expectant instead of exhausted. Hope in the waiting looks like getting up each morning with a heart ready to believe again. It looks like thanking God for the answer before it comes, praising him in advance for the victory you have not yet seen. It looks like encouraging others even while your own prayers are still unfolding. It's not passive. It's active faith that says, I believe you, God, even now. There's a beauty that only grows in seasons of waiting. It teaches you to appreciate the blessing when it comes because you know what it cost. It teaches you to depend on God, not just for the gift, but for the strength to endure until the gift arrives. Hope in the waiting is the anchor that keeps your soul steady through it all. Victory through faith is not about fighting harder with your own strength. It's about believing deeper with your faith is the battlefield where true victory is won long before you see the results. It's standing firm when everything around you says it's over. It's raising your hands in praise while you're still in the middle of the storm. Victory through faith means you trust that God's promises are true even when the evidence hasn't shown up yet. You believe not because you have all the answers, but because you know the one who does. Faith is what turns obstacles into stepping stones. It's what makes you say, I will not be defeated, even when defeat looks like the obvious outcome. Through faith, you realize that the battle is not yours to fight alone. It belongs to God. Victory is not dependent on your resources, your connections, or your abilities. It's dependent on your willingness to believe that God is able, that he is faithful, and that he never loses. Victory through faith also changes your vision. You start seeing challenges as opportunities for God to show his power. You start declaring victory before it's visible, walking like it's already done, because in God's eyes, it is. Faith gives you the endurance to run when you feel like crawling, to smile when you feel like crying, and to speak life when death seems to surround you. It creates a resilience in your spirit that no loss, no setback, no enemy can steal. Faith moves mountains, but it also moves you. It moves you closer to the purpose, the promise, and the destiny God designed for you. Walking in victory through faith means you don't have to wait for the circumstances to change to start living free. You are victorious the moment you choose to believe. Radiating light is about carrying a presence that shifts the atmosphere around you, not because of anything you've done, but because of the God within you. It's the undeniable glow that comes from a life lived in purpose and faith. People will see it before they hear it, feel it before they understand it. It's the kind of light that doesn't dim in darkness, but actually grows brighter. When you radiate light, you don't just exist, you illuminate. You walk into a room and something changes. Your peace, your confidence, your joy, all shine through, showing others a glimpse of something they might not yet understand, but deeply desire. Radiating light isn't about perfection. It's about authenticity. It's about living a life that reflects God's love, grace, and truth, even in the midst of struggle. It's knowing that even on your hardest days, God's light shines through the cracks, making you more beautiful, more resilient, more real. Your light isn't about having it all together. It's about knowing that even in your brokenness, God is present. When you radiate light, you stop trying to impress people and start reflecting the glory of the one who created you. You become a living testimony that no matter what life throws your way, joy and peace are possible because of the strength that comes from within. This kind of light doesn't just affect you, it changes others. It draws people in, not because you are perfect, but because you have something that they need. Your light becomes a bridge to their hope, a beacon guiding them through their own darkness. It encourages, uplifts, and inspires them to keep going when they feel like giving up. When you radiate light, you become a living example of what it means to live in God's love, to walk in his truth, and to shine no matter the circumstances. In the end, it's clear that each of these truths, faith over fear, strength through surrender, divine timing, peace beyond understanding, unshakable identity, purpose in pain, guided by grace, hope in the waiting, victory through faith, and radiating light, are not just words to be heard, but principles to be lived. They are the foundation of a life that stands strong no matter what storms may come. A woman who embraces these truths becomes unstoppable, not because she is perfect, but because she knows where her strength comes from. She knows that she is not alone, that she is loved, guided, and empowered by a God whose plan for her is bigger and better than anything she could ever imagine. So no matter where you find yourself today, remember, you are blessed when you place everything in God's hands. You are more than capable, more than worthy, and your journey, every single step of it, is filled with purpose. Keep walking in faith, keep surrendering to grace, and keep shining your light, for the world needs what you carry.